Supreme Court has upheld Uttar Pradesh Madrasa law. The Supreme Court says UP Madrasa law is constitutional. Supreme Court quashes High Court order that scrapped the Madrasa law earlier. Big update as the Supreme Court today upheld the constitutional validity of the 2004 Uttar Pradesh Board of Madrasa Education Act, thereby setting aside an earlier order that was delivered by the Allahabad High Court. Big update there. In fact, the Madrasa Act had provided legal framework for madrasa's education, where apart from the curriculum of the National Council of Educational Research and Training, that's the NCERT, also religious education can be imparted as well. So the madrasa schools should also have formalized education. That was what part of that act said. Now you have the Supreme Court upholding its constitutional validity. Kanu Sharda, who's tracking court for us and this case, to give us more clarity on this. Kanu, please give us more details on nearly 16,000 madrasas in Uttar Pradesh now will fall under the UP Madrasa Act. The Supreme Court underscoring its constitutional validity. All right, we're going to try and get Kanu patched yet again. But here, the Madrasa Act, which the Uttar Pradesh government had formulated, provides for legal framework for madrasa education. Basically, within the legal ambit, madrasas will fall under, where they will also have formal education, apart from religious education also that will be allowed to be imparted. Now, this, though, will have to come under the government. It's strictly going to fall under the government's ambit. Now, this, the Allahabad High Court had earlier not held as constitutional. They, in fact, set aside the order. Now, in Supreme Court, it seems like the UP government has managed to win with its Madrasa Act finding constitutional validity. A last and final verdict that comes from this topmost court in the country. Supreme Court now gives constitutional validity to the UP Madrasa Act. It sets aside the Allahabad High Court's order. Now, the Madrasa Act that provides for legal framework for madrasa education, apart from the curriculum of the NCERT, religious education will also be allowed to be imparted. At this point, there are thousands of madrasas. As per Uttar Pradesh government, they've identified several madrasas that have not been identified or do not fall under the government's ambit, are working independently. Now, the UP Madrasa Act will mandate all these madrasas to come under the government's ambit. Kanu Sharda, who's with us right now. Kanu, please go on, if you can hear me.
Yes, Nabila, the Supreme Court's verdict comes as a huge relief to all those all those students who are, studying in these madrasas, because the Allahabad High Court judgment came as a setback for all these madrasas at one point of time when, the Supreme Court had to intervene and had stayed the judgment of the Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court judgment had, termed the UP Madrasa Act as unconstitutional. The Supreme Court today held that the maintaining a proper standard of education is what is needed in these madrasas. And since the act was brought in by the UP government, the madrasas has also, complied with certain education rules, like bringing the NCERT syllabus as part of the madrasas education. Supreme Court during the hearing has also, stressed on the fact that, religious education needs to be a part of it, and this is not only related to one particular religion. In fact, in Hindu religion also, the Vedic education is given to the students in some kind of school.
We have the lawyer speaking right at this moment. Kanu, please stay with us.
And we believe that there was no problem. The Madrasa board was working in the proper manner, in the proper fashion, and there was no requirement of setting it to call it unconstitutional.
So, does Supreme Court has said anything about the degrees or certificates?
Yes, the Supreme Court has said that the Madrasa board will not be competent to give a degree of Fazil and Kamil, which was higher education degrees, but will have the competence to give the certificate for Munshi, Maulvi and Kamil, which is equivalent to 8th, 10th and 12th.
So how do you see the judgment? How is going to be?
See, we will read the judgment when it is published, and we'll be able to give a proper opinion only after that. However, from what we have heard in the pronouncement, we welcome the judgment.
All right, let me cut across to Kanu Sharda for more on that. Kanu, I'm reading the Chief Justice of India, while pronouncing this verdict, has said the state does have vital interest even in ensuring standards in religious places and places of religious instruction. Basically referring to madrasas here, saying that to throw away the act entirely is basically to throw out a baby with the bathwater. Precisely the words used by the Chief Justice of India. If you could elaborate a little more on why the CJI insists that this act holds constitutional validity and it should, by and large, have religious institutions like the madrasas also come under the formal educational ambit. All right. Let me cut across to the BJP leader Pramod Tiwari speaking.
नहीं है इन मदरसों का संचालन, ना उन्होंने इसकी धर्मनिरपेक्षता पे कोई सवाल किया है। सही प्रतिक्रिया, पूरी प्रतिक्रिया तो तभी दी जा सकती है जब वो बड़ा जजमेंट है उसे पढ़ लिया जाए, पर प्रथम दृष्टया ये स्वागत योग्य कदम है। शिक्षा में और सुधार होना चाहिए, मदरसों को उच्चीकृत करके आज की वर्तमान परिस्थितियों के हिसाब से शिक्षा दी जाए, ये सारे सुझाव सही है।
आप इस पूरे निर्णय को सरकार के तौर पर झटके के तौर पर देख रहे हैं? फिर
देखिए, ये सरकार जहां का प्रधानमंत्री ही बोलते वक्त ये ध्यान न रखे संविधान क्या है, धर्म क्या है जो बोल गए हैं वो कल, मैं तो इतना ही कहना चाहूंगा कि ये उस सोच का जो सरकार की सोच थी कि इसे बंद कर दिया जाए, समाप्त कर दिया जाए, उस पर निश्चित रूप से इसे वैध मान लिया है मदरसा एक्ट को, तो उससे उनकी नीयत पे पड़ा हुआ पर्दा उतर गया। ये मान भी लिया गया कि उनका निर्णय गलत है, सिर्फ हाई कोर्ट का नहीं, उनका निर्णय गलत है, उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार का। तो निश्चित रूप से इसे वो झटका माने या करारा तमाचा माने या अपनी गलती माने, ये तो वो निर्णय ले।
लेकिन कई बार बीजेपी इसको लेकर सवाल उठाती रही है, मदरसों में जिस तरह से पढ़ाई को लेकर, सिलेबस को लेकर चर्चा रही है।
मैं फिर कहना चाहता हूँ, मैंने कहा सिलेबस में जहाँ सुधार की गुंजाइश हो वो उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार को अधिकार है दे, या किसी भी राज्य के किसी सरकार को अधिकार है दे, लेकिन मदरसा एक्ट को पूरा का पूरा समाप्त करना तो नीयत सही नहीं थी। हर चीज में सुधार और सुझाव की गुंजाइश होती। क्या स्कूलों में प्रॉस्पेक्टस बदला नहीं गया? क्या शिक्षा का जो मानक था वो नहीं चेंज किया गया? बहुत से पाठ्यक्रम में आमूल परिवर्तन किए गए, इसमें भी कर सकते हैं। लेकिन मदरसा एक्ट को संविधान विरोधी बताया था, ये गलत है।
कई एजेंसीज के भी इनपुट आते हैं, नेपाल बॉर्डर के आसपास जो मदरसे हैं वहां देश विरोधी गतिविधि को लेकर भी तमाम चर्चाएं इस बीच में हुई हैं, उनको लेकर आप कैसे देखते हैं इस पूरे निर्णय को?
देखिए, किसी को पूरा सही और पूरा गलत नहीं कहा जा सकता, ये है सुप्रीम कोर्ट की मंशा। अगर कहीं एंटी नेशन कोई या देश के खिलाफ राष्ट्र विरोधी कोई साजिश हो, चाहे वो मदरसा हो या कोई और संस्था हो, उसके खिलाफ कठोरतम कार्रवाई हो। लेकिन अगर कोई संस्था या कुछ करे तो 16,000 मदरसे आप बैन नहीं कर सकते। कुछ स्कूलों में अगर नकल हो रही तो सबको आप नहीं मान सकते नकल हो रही। कुछ स्कूलों में अगर राष्ट्र विरोधी काम हो रहा है तो आप सारे स्कूलों को, हिंदी स्कूलों को, संस्कृत स्कूलों को आप राष्ट्र विरोधी नहीं कह सकते। कोई उसमें अगर अपराधी है तो उस इंडिविजुअल के खिलाफ कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, उस शिक्षा संस्था के खिलाफ कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, सारी शिक्षा संस्थाओं के खिलाफ।
बटेंगे तो कटेंगे इस समय उपचुनाव से पहले काफी जोर पकड़ रहा है यूपी की सियासत और उपचुनाव, और अब ये निर्णय कैसे देख रहे हो?
अब बटेंगे कटेंगे पे जवाब आ गया सुप्रीम कोर्ट का। अब ये तो भाजपा समझाए